Thank you, everyone. I mean, how are we feeling? Are we doing okay?
No.
We're going to have director Richard Green. And we have a little surprise for you. We have Miss Charlotte Stewart. Charlotte, I want to start with you because you didn't know you were going to be here. And I was the voice from above, huh? What was that like for you? You were so close with Catherine, and what's your initial thoughts?
Yeah, well, that last week, we actually had talked. We were going to, the last that I heard was Catherine was coming to town, and she would do her last scene there, today. And so we made a plan to have dinner. Didn't quite work out that way. But I had, she kept it so quiet that you just didn't know. She didn't, I don't know if she didn't want us to know. She didn't want to upset us. I think that was more her background.
Richard, earlier today I heard you whisper something to Charlotte about how much Charlotte means to this picture. You want to tell everyone?
Well, I think Charlotte meant a lot to Catherine. And Charlotte was one of the early interviews we did and was just so forthcoming and so open. And, there's another documentary just in Charlotte Stewart here.
Yeah.
This is Little House on the Prairie School Barn, and this is great. So she was just instrumental in sort of validating the concept of the project. She had also been very involved in the making of, Jack, and has to this day my favorite line in that movie, which is at the very end of the movie, she does an impersonation of Jack. She says, "An unsolved homicide." I think Jack would have liked that. So, it gave beyond just sort of giving me credibility with other members of the cast as well. It started off this wave of just people talking. It was the wonderful thing for me in making this was I got to talk to all those people, and not only talk to them for an hour and a half almost every interview, but then live with it for years, hearing what they had to say, and filtering it down, trying to get it so that the story was coherent and it would be impactful. I have to tell you, this is our 4th or 5th screening. We started up in North Bend. We did Ojai, which was wonderful, and San Francisco was wonderful, and we just did Ohio, was wonderful, but this was an amazing screening. We've never showed it to an audience this big, and your response, I'm totally blown away. It's just wonderful. Thank you. Thank you.
Charlotte, you worked with Catherine on Eraserhead, which we are talking about tomorrow night. Charlotte will be here for Eraserhead. And Twin Peaks, and of course she was your friend, but what do you associate Catherine with? Do you think about Twin Peaks, or do you think about Eraserhead, or do neither of those things come to you?
All of those things, all of the above. I mean, she was just such a giving person. And Richard, I want to thank you for the way you presented the image of Catherine, not just in her own words, but Catherine was so many things, just so many people. I mean, she loved the theater so much. I only wish I had been up to see her on stage. We had spoken briefly because she was going to come to Los Angeles and do that last scene, but we had no idea, how ill she was. But we talked about having dinner. I said, oh dear. But that, you just presented such a wonderful picture of her life, her story, what she loved, what she, believed in, her love for theater, her love for acting. She just inspired so many people, and now you did.
talk about her as a camera woman. That's so fascinating. Tell us something about why that's so important, put it in perspective, and why that mattered so much for this documentary.
Well, I'm really glad everybody's going through the credits, because that one scene when Fred Elms, at his Lifetime Achievement Award, dedicates it to Catherine, just blew me away. It was a very precise thing. It's so different in some ways than acting and emoting, because it's such a precise thing that you're doing. And you can screw up a whole movie, one bad move, and you can't use that shot. And what if it's a great performance? What if it's the most wonderful moment, but you fuck it up by not keeping it in focus and they have to throw it away? So it's an extremely stressful, precise job. But it's also, as Fred is talking about, it's very collaborative. You're right there, you're in people's pockets. And how many people here have ever been on a film set or been in a film? There's, a fair amount. It's a very, very intense thing. It's crisis, right? Director, your job is to create a crisis. Put all these things together so that they all come together and they all explode at the same moment. And you gotta capture that moment when it explodes, a little bit of the prep, the explosion, and then the denouement. That's our job. And as soon as you get that crisis and you capture it, you move on to the next thing. Keeping the vibes between people is essential. And I think in the days of Disneyland, Catherine on the streets, as you would know, in the days of Disneyland, this is...
I was the first Alice in Wonderland at Disneyland. In 1958.
I love that. Why did I not know that? I have not heard that before. I mean, that is wonderful.
And the thing about that is that you're interacting with the public. Especially with kids, right? They have this fantasy of you. It's like sitting on Santa Claus's lap, right? It's like Santa Claus, and you have that moment where it's Alice in Wonderland or Snow White or something. And I think that it's a very empathetic thing for an actor to do, especially if you're wearing a costume or something. You really have to emotionally put yourself out there if you're going to connect with somebody. That, and then the Aunt Jemima Pancake House, right? We all know Aunt Jemima. It's just recently taken off the market because of its racist overtones and undertones, right? But Carnation, there's something you might not know. Walt Disney built the park by going to the sponsors and having them build their own pavilions. So Carnation owned that little piece of Disneyland. That's how he pulled this thing off, right? And 3 years in, he turned to Catherine's dad, Bud Colson, and said, would you manage, the Aunt Jemima Pancake House? We have a picture, which we've never going to include anywhere because I don't want to get into trouble with Disney, but it's Aunt Jemima is sitting in the front, heavy, overweight, black woman in a kind of colonialist outfit. Bandana. At the other end of the picture, the very top of the picture, is Catherine Colson. Flanking her are 20 beautiful, young men and women, all white, all polished. On her left is 20 beautiful men and women, all white, all polished, and then her dad, and then her mother. So she learned how to run a restaurant. She managed it. All those people went to school with her, either at college or in high school. So my feeling is, interpretive, I'll grant you, but my feeling is it was that sense of running a restaurant, of making people happy. That was their whole thing. She wanted people to go out of the restaurant happy. They're eating pancakes, right? And the same thing with being on the street and engaging with audiences taught her this sense of empathy and this sense of connectedness, right? Then she gets into the theater, and if anybody, I bet more people have done theater than have done movies. How many people have been in a play in their lives? Yeah, a lot more people, right? You cannot do a play unless everybody does their job. If the person doesn't bring up the curtain, the play doesn't start. If the music doesn't start on time, the actors. It's this collective thing of mutual respect, mutual support. If somebody gets sick, what are you going to do? You got an understudy who may not really know the role. You all got to come together. There's this sense of community in the making of something that we all deem, at the moment at least, is important. I think that infused her experience with David for the 6 years of making Eraserhead. And I think the reason Sabrina Sutherland sees that in David's work is because Catherine was there on that set teaching him.
I remember watching Catherine a lot. She just loved behind the camera. I could tell she wanted to do the shooting.
And she did. She shot a lot of stuff.
That's right. I didn't know that because I was in and out, at that time. But I saw Catherine just avid behind the camera. She wanted to take it over.
And David didn't let her. That doesn't sound like my goodness. There's something I know about you, Richard, that maybe everyone who's interviewing you doesn't.
Uh-oh.
Because I've seen you from the genesis of this project to this premiere. And you've almost lost yourself in this movie. It's here. How hard has it been to get out of this?
I want a remix. That's the first thing.
But I mean, when
I'm
I
not
finish
out,
a project, I call it post-project depression. And I mean, this has been your life for many years. And it's here and we love it. You did it, but I'm almost worried about you. I mean, how do you
I
do
think
it?
I'm going to be okay. No, making this film has absolutely changed my life. Just the direction of it and just the moment-to-moment living of it. Just being here, right? Sitting here. We're in a theater. This is amazing. I got all these people that are here because of this movie, because of Catherine's life, because of Schenken and Lynch and all the people, right? What can I say? I don't know. It's a hard question to answer. How do I feel about it at this point? I didn't go through a depression in some ways because I didn't really have time. We never planned a theatrical release of this film. We have a kind of a cool scheme. All of our backers who are here, you get to hear about it right now for the first time perhaps. We decided that we were going to put this straight out. We raised $300,000 in 30 days on Kickstarter. That's an extraordinary use of social media to reach out to people who wanted to see this film. We had David Lynch in the little promo and a good story to tell, and we made it well. I'm proud of how we've made it. But that's a lot of money, and I thought, after trying to get sold to Netflix, and trying to make our budget back in a market that's totally changed for documentaries, it's really, really tough out there. We decided we're going to go direct to our audience. We're going to sell it for $20 download, $20 a stream. But that every one of our 1,752 backers are going to be given an affiliate code that we're calling a partner code. So if they take this email that we'll provide them with their special code and they send it out to all their friends and family, many of whom don't understand why the fuck we like Twin Peaks. But they might after this film. They won't understand Twin Peaks, none of us do, but they might understand what it is that draws us, I hope, from this film. That the people who they send it to that watch the film will get a $5 discount. And another $5 will go back to the backer who sent them the email or to a charity of their choice. So now I hope we'll have out of our 1,752, 1,751 maybe, people who want to send this out. If they like the film, they get it, right? They like it. That's a lot of marketers out there. And then we realized, well, there are 6,000 community theaters in the United States, and each one of those theaters, the community ones, probably don't have a professional fundraiser helping them raise money. And they may have thousands of subscribers that support that they're doing. So let's offer them the same deal so they can send it out. It'll cost us a couple of bucks off the top of each one, and we'll make $7 or $8 after this, and maybe in 100,000 times that plus, we might make our money back. But it means that we'll have people spreading the word on this film. And we're going to put all our efforts into the theater community and into the world of David Lynch because we think there's enough people, 2.5 million people watch The Return on average. If we can get 10% of those people, we can not only return our money, but we can give, a nice chunk of money. 10% goes to the David Lynch Foundation to train people in TM who have PTSD or at-risk kids, battered women. Another 10% goes to Catherine's daughter, Zoe, who is very deserving and is right now arranging with the World Wildlife Fund. I'm not sure the name of the organization. If you go on our website, iknowcatherine.com, you can see it. The log is going to be on display in Portland with the glasses. We got the glasses going up as well, while we're screening there in Portland at a theater there. I can't remember the name of it, unfortunately. But yeah. I don't remember the question. Was that hear an answer for you?
No, the question was, what should I do with this $20 I want to invest?
Well, you can get $5 back.
Right, and the Ginsu knife is what convinced me.
You got my $20.
Hey, there we go.
Charlotte, you got to spend many weekends at the Twin Peaks Fest with Catherine. And as someone who would go up there, watching the two of you be in a little corner, chatting, that was like a fan favorite. What do you remember about those weekends with Catherine?
Oh, well, I cherish them. Because we lived in two different towns, and I never got up to, visit her there. But when we were brought up, when David would have some event and bring us up to Twin Peaks. The last time I was there, which you saw in the film, and she's wearing this cute little hat, and and she leaned over to me and she said, "I have to go to the ladies' room, but I don't want anybody to know that I can't walk there. Would you go with me?" So Catherine and I, very graciously, holding arm in arm, we walked very slowly through the crowd and said hello to everybody, and she greeted everybody. They never had a clue. They thought we were just taking our time to visit, and it was because she was having a hard time walking.
I have a story about that same thing, period. So there's this guy, right, some Midwest cat, and he's working in a computer company or something, doing some menial drudgery job, and he wants to be a writer. And he goes up to this festival because he's wanting to go up to this festival for years. He goes up to the festival, and in the gift store at Snoqualmie Falls, which is gorgeous, everybody should go, he meets Catherine. And he comes away from that meeting inspired to get out of this corporate job and become a writer. And he gets on the phone and he starts bugging John Thorne, who wrote all the Wrapped in Plastic. He published it along with his partner, Craig Miller, and bugging him, let's do it again. And the guy won't do it. He just, he's had enough, a lot of episodes, a lot of magazines. And then finally the guy wakes up one morning and decides he's gonna do it. He's gonna do Blue Rose magazine. He calls up John Thorne, and John Thorne says, "Yeah, okay, I'll help you." I heard that, so I got that story on tape.
And then he cut it from the movie.
Okay, there is a 3-part miniseries. No, I'm not
And
joking.
I'm in part 4.
You were in part 4.
That is 100% true what he's telling, and it's so weird because someone just asked me out there, did you ever interview Catherine? And I said, no, I never interviewed her, but the moment I had with her truly changed my life, and it is hard to explain why it mattered so much. But then this movie kind of justifies it. You don't need to hear my story in the movie because it's everyone's story. Everyone she came in contact with.
Yeah.
She changed their life, and it was so strange to me that, I don't know, that's what I get from the movie. Like, I can't help but reflect what she gave back to me, and as Charlotte said, nobody knew she was sick. I mean, I didn't know that she was dying when she's talking to me and telling me how important it is to follow your dreams and all these things. We're in a freaking gift shop. And 6 weeks later, she's gone.
Yeah.
And it really did. I said, I'm not dying in a cubicle. I'm gonna die on stage at the music box.
How accurate, but true.
Man, your movie would be big then.
Yeah, we get some headlines off of that. I want to remember to do this before I forget. Outside, there's a merch table. I want you to buy as much merch as you want. That's it's actually nothing to do with me on some levels. But did anybody notice this black background drawings of rooms and maps and stuff? I saw that stuff and it blew me away. And we hired the artist who was living and working in Ukraine at the time. Outside now are small, beautiful drawings from the movie and other ones of Twin Peaks and t-shirts. I just encourage you all to at least keep your money in your pocket if you want, but look at them as you go by. I don't want to forget. And more important, wait 1 second. More important.
But you're missing a part of the story. I'm going to add something.
Okay.
This group of people
book
helped. Remember 2 years ago?
We
raised money.
We
That's
raised
the
money
part.
here for her in Ukraine. All the merch we sold 3 years ago went to her in Ukraine. But there's a book out there, what I really want to say, and it's got little glasses on it. Please sign it. Please tell us what you think, or leave us your email, or I don't know, whatever you want. But we would love to have some little memento of you seeing this with us here today in that book. Mariah E. Gates is here. Where are you, Mariah? I can't see. Does everybody know who Mariah is? She's in the back. Just a brilliant writer, a brilliant thinker, and one of our supporters from early on. I called her before this movie started, before our campaign, and asked her opinions and her help. She'd been very supportive of an earlier project, History of Cool. I just encourage everybody to get her book if you can. We have our executive producer and stage manager with the camera there sitting in the front. That's Jane Alvershed. I know. There are probably more people here, but I should shut up and let him
No,
go.
you did great, and you'll be here tomorrow with me for, I don't know, Jack, at a time that you will find out by using the internet. And tomorrow
3:40, I believe.
3:40, I believe. And tomorrow night, Charlotte and I will be back for Eraserhead. So this is just part of that. Stay tuned for Elephant Man. Thank you.
Thank you. It's a pleasure, buddy.
Charlotte. Thank you.
Charlotte Stewart, ladies and gentlemen. 85-year-old hot chick. 84. Sorry. I just wanted to up her score. Thank you, everybody.